what it was. Y'all already know who it is. And if not, I'm him. I'm also that. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And before we even get started, man, let me tell y'all about something that happened to me yesterday. That's just a glaring example of why I am who the fuck I am. And so, I'm going to the corner store to get me some Garcia Vegas, right? And as soon as I slide up in that bitch, I notice that there's a couple that notices me as soon as I walk in through the door. And I'm used to this shit. I have Pluto in the first house, so one thing that is a guarantee is that when I walk into a room, I'm going to be noticed. People are going to have some sort of reaction to me when I come into a room, and that's just kind of what it is. But I also have my moon in the 5th house and Venus in Leo, so I ain't finna turn that shit down for nobody either. As a matter of fact, I'm finna turn that shit on even more. So as I'm walking up to the register with all my swag hanging out, the lady behind the register actually recognizes me and she says, "Hey, what's been going on with the moon? Cause people been acting crazy." And as soon as she says that, the lady that's with the dude, she notices me again. And this time, her dude notice me. And I don't think he liked that. And once again, I'm just back there. And I let go of a fly answer of some sort. I forgot what I said. And the lady in front of me with the dude, her jaw just dropped. You know what I'm saying? And she kind of like quivering right there. And he kind of like, And he said, "You believe in that shit?" And I said, "Sir, to be honest with you, I'm actually an active practitioner of that shit. And let me tell you something else about that shit. See, there's something in your reaction that to me just now that proves that shit is real. Because look, sir, I have Pluto in the 1st house. And what that means is that when you walk into a room, most often than not, people are either going to be magnetized by you or drawn to you, or they're going to be repelled by you. And I don't know if you were repelled by me because you had a reaction to me. So I don't know if you're magnetized by me, or maybe you have a problem because I got a reaction out of this lady right here. But yeah, sir. And I know that was brash. I know that was cocky. But he was asking for it. And I don't think he thought he could beat me up. So he kind of grabbed his lady's hand and they walked on out the door. And the lady behind the register, she just like, "Oh, you that dude." And for those moments, I felt like that dude. Okay? And that's just what it is, man. But that's beside the fact, man. Let's get into this karma, okay? Because this right here is serious business right here. Because this right here, this a little something about those people that have their north node in their 2nd house and their south node in the 8th house of their natal chart. And see, before we even go there, man, if you don't know my style, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about the nodes. I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown of the north node. I'm going to give y'all a quick breakdown of the south node. Then I'm going to talk a little bit on how they affect you and the history behind them and the mythology behind them. And so you'll understand a lot before we even get started on the real deal Holyfield. But when we get into that, be ready because you're looking at one of the coldest closers in the game. Best believe. So without wasting any more time, man, it ain't nothing to it but to do it. So in astrology, man, your life's purpose is encoded with the north and the south node of the moon, or referred to as Rahu and Ketu, respectively, in Vedic astrology. And these right here, they're not actual celestial bodies. No, these are rather two mathematical points in the chart that fall directly opposite one another, and they create an axis of sorts in opposite signs and opposite houses. For instance, if your north node is in Capricorn, then your south node is in Cancer. And if your north node is in the 2nd house, then your south node is in the 8th house, and so on and so forth. But the nodes help us answer questions like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Why am I here? And what's my mission? And even why am I like this? And what might I have been in past lives? Yeah. If you believe in that, we're going to go there. But, let me tell you a little bit about each one of these individually because that'll help out. So when we're talking about the north node or Rahu, this is your destiny. This is where you need to be going right fucking now. And I like to think that the north node illuminates the terrain that's calling your name. But climbing to the peak of this, man, it's going to be like getting to the top of Mount Everest, man, because you're often going to have to lighten up your load and enlist some help if you ever want to get to the top of that hill, Miss Weezy. This is kind of your learning curve in a sense, because Rahu activities, they're always going to require you to stretch out of your comfort zone. But once you do, you're going to feel amazed at how empowered you feel. This is like the activation of your life's mission. And the sooner that you align yourself with this path, the more purpose-driven your life will become. Okay? And, I also want to say that you're always going to be able to turn back to that South Node energy, though, as that ace in the hole at certain times in life, even after you made your way. Okay? But when it comes to the North Node, it's pretty much like this. We often get caught up thinking that just because we're really good at some shit or some shit comes easy to us, that's what we're supposed to be doing with our lives. But, nah, man, that easy shit, it just doesn't feel spiritually satisfying, because the simple fact is maybe we've already mastered that before in previous lifetimes, man. Maybe that's just some energy that we brought with us. That's that South Node. So what we need to do now is flip the script and do something else with it, man, and go after this karmic destiny. That's why it's going to be a little bit harder. Now, the South Node. Now, these are your innate gifts. This is the shit that you brought into this life with you from wherever you came from before, man. And the South Node is going to be directly opposite the North Node, and it reveals, the stuff that you brought into this lifetime with you. You feel what I'm saying? And, this is your innate gifts, it's your comfort zone, it's your sweet spot, and you're going to be innately good in these areas of life, which it kind of might cause you to begin your early path based on Ketu's energy. And while that might bring you a little sense of satisfaction, hey, it ain't never going to be spiritually nourishing, because it's basically on some been there and done that type shit. And indeed, you probably have with the South Node and in a lot of lifetimes before this. And so it's time to flip the script and use Ketu as a springboard into Rahu's destiny. You feel me? And it's like the South Node is your little horoscope hometown and shit. It's not necessarily the place that you want to settle permanently, but it's somewhere that you can always go that's comfortable to visit when you need a boost or to feel a sense of belonging. All right? Now, in astrology, when we're using the nodes, us astrologers kind of use the nodes to determine where your destiny lies. In this life, with Rahu or the North Node, or kind of what you had going on in past lives with the South Node or Ketu. And, as far as their transits go, they change signs about every 18 months or year and a half. And this shit goes well beyond just Western astrology and this lifetime right here, man. Best believe, okay? Because in Jewish astrology or Kabbalistic astrology, it focuses primarily on the nodes. And it calls the North Node your tikkun, or your life's correction. And it views it as the karmic adjustment that your soul must make in order to ascend. Okay. Now, in Vedic or sidereal, Rahu, this is known as the head of the dragon, but he has no body. And Ketu, this is the body or the tail of the beast, which has no head. And it really takes a really harsh view of the South Node's karma. But to sum it up, man, this shit right here is crucial. This is some of the more crucial shit there is in astrology. So this is definitely worth paying attention to. And the house placement, it's actually more crucial than the sign placement. And that's what we talking about. So it's time to key in on this shit. All right. So here we go. When we talk about taking the North Node or Rahu and we putting it in the second house, man, I'm telling you, it'd be real easy for me to say that this is all about, building abundance and creating wealth and enjoying yourself. But nah, it's deeper than rap, man. Cause truth be told, this is actually all about building self-confidence, becoming self-reliant and, learning to place value in self this time around. And furthermore, this is about moving away from all that sexiness and death and secrets and manipulation and intensity and darkness of the eighth and figuring out how to live your best life right now. For real, man. And the thing about doing that is Rahu here is also suggesting that you need to stop relying on your power to gain control and utilize other people's resources and make a way to get it out the mud for yourself this time. You feel me? You need to get out of other people's pocketbook, man. But I don't think y'all hear me, though. I don't think y'all hear me, though, man, for real. And that eighth house, it's a hard place to get to. But here's the thing. It's even harder to get away from. But this is where your karmic debt is about in this life, man. This is about figuring out what you really find valuable. Cause thing is, in previous existences, or in your earlier years, whatever you had going on, hell, even now, y'all folks attracted things to you naturally. So it ain't shit for you to just go into that mode. But no. The universe really wants you to learn to provide for yourself in this life. So a second house north node, it can make a motherfucker both a go-getter and a motherfucking beneficiary in this life. And speaking of being a beneficiary, we're going to get serious for a second, because although it never has to be the case, because there's exceptions to everything, Rahu right here, it can also indicate some type of traumatic experience with death or sex in the path that you're trying to look past in this life. For instance, maybe this is somebody who lost a best friend or a partner or a lover, or even almost died themselves somehow. But something went down that really caused them to leave whatever little bitty comfort zone that they had before and get way too used to being uncomfortable. Which, that ain't what's up. That is not what's up at all, man. So this lifetime, it's all about utilizing that power built up from going through that to build up your own little comfort zone, build up your own little reality for yourself without all that unnecessary nastiness. Okay? And, let me go ahead and say, while we being nasty, and I'm going to let it be known whether you want it to be known or not, because this is about secrets too. But, we're about getting away from those secrets. Them secrets is that 8th house. We're going to get away from that. So let it be known that, if you have your north node in the second house, I know for a fact that you possess a lot of sexual power, man. I mean, a lot. And, it's really in your nature to utilize that as a means to get what you want. Whether it just be using that charisma and energy and magnetism to manipulate massively, or whether you got some kind of full-on prostitution shit going on, man. Y'all motherfuckers know how to work your jelly. And nobody is sexier and nobody is better at what they do either. But y'all need to let that shit go. There's a certain point where you're going to have to get past that shit in this life, man. And although, all that erotic magnetism, it's understandable. It's also unnecessary for you to be using, because, there is just so much more to you than that. There is so much more to you than that. And if you're always using that in every situation, everybody in the equation, self included, is going to kind of lose sight of the real shit that should be valued. Okay? Remember that, man. There's a lot more that you should place value in that shit, man. And the second house north node, it's also kind of letting it be known that your destiny revolves around learning what's truly valuable in life. So look at the sign and see what that's trying to teach you, and that'll help you realize a lot more too. Now, on the other end of the spectrum in this, when we want to talk about the karmic implications of having an 8th house Ketu, man, none is more powerful. None is more powerful, man. You're sensitive to the darkness because you come from it. That's real, man. Maybe you were heavily involved with the occult or witchcraft or sorcery or alchemy or mysticism in some way in your past life. Or maybe you had the ability to look at somebody else's soul and know all of their secrets. That's there. Maybe you were a voracious keeper of secrets yourself. Maybe you were a dealer of death. Or maybe you were a paid provider of pleasure. Whatever the case may be, man, you brought a heaviness with you into this life that must be amended. That's what this is letting you know. We all have secrets. I promise you, man. But we are not our secrets. Just because you know how to survive in the gutter does not ever mean that you need to build your house there. Realize that, man. And just because you ain't afraid of the dark, it does not mean that you should sleep in the closet. And lastly, just because you built like that, it don't mean you have to build like that, man. Hey, if this is your placement, I know for a fact that your soul needs a rest. Do something about it. Like I said, you don't have to believe a word we just talked about, because just because you built like that, we don't have to build like that. And what I mean is we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of itself. If you fooled me on any level, you should have been hitting that like button already, because I know I went in. That's undeniable. I appreciate everybody's love and support. Oh, y'all keep it real till next time. If you're interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Hey, y'all keep it play at all times too. That's harder for some than most. I love y'all, man.